Hello, everyone. Welcome to Retalk TV. Today, I'm excited to introduce to you my good friend Tanya Fromenta. She's a realtor for the area of Bayshore, Long Island. And today, we're talking about the real estate market, New York versus Florida. And let's see what she does real estate in New York as well as Florida. And I have a lot of questions to ask her, so let's bring her on. Hi, Tanya. How are you?
Hi, Sia. How are you? Thank you for having
I'm
me.
doing great. I'm glad to have you. Um, so, Tanya, the big question of the day: New York versus Florida real estate. What's up with that? I know there's a lot of people leaving New York and they're just saying, "That's it. I'm done. I'm going to Florida." Why is that?
Well, that used to happen before with people that retire, so they want to go down there because the living expenses are lower there. The weather, they don't have to deal with winter time, so that's something that people always have in mind. And now with COVID, they just want to go there because it's cheaper to live there, because maybe they have more space, and basically also because of the weather. That's something that people don't want to deal with anymore. That's kind of hard, but I think that's the main reason. And the market that is hot too, so they have a lot of new
Mhm.
construction, a lot of houses, more options that here, newer construction as well. So that's one
Yes.
of the reasons, I think.
Yeah, definitely. The real estate market is hot right now in a lot of areas, and definitely Long Island. It's a hot market right now. But the problem with Long Island is, uh, you tell us what's the problem. I'm gonna let you say that one. What's the problem with Long Island?
What happened in Long Island right now after COVID, prices are getting crazy,
Mm,
crazy high, because a lot of people from Manhattan, from Brooklyn, Queens are moving to the island because they had
mhm,
a hard time during COVID. They were like locked down in buildings,
mhm,
and the living is very expensive also in Manhattan. So they're moving here for the same price you pay for a two-bedroom apartment in
mhm.
Manhattan. You probably buy a three-bedroom house in here in Long Island.
And
So
in Florida, you buy a mansion.
yeah,
Yeah, pretty much
exactly.
with a pool and everything. So the other problem that I see is the lack of supply, the lack of
Yeah.
housing. There's not a lot to go around, and they're going like that.
Yeah.
How long is it taking to sell a home in your neighboring? You're doing Bayshore, Islip, Babylon, Brentwood, all the
Bravo.
neighboring
Yeah.
areas there in that little chunk there, which is really good. That's a very smart thing because you're focusing, instead of
Mhm.
saying I do all New York and no, focus. It's a great thing to focus because you know your area very, very
Yeah.
well.
For real
Um,
estate, you have to stay local. Yeah,
yes.
that's the key.
What's going on there with the houses that go on the market?
For the houses, you can sell a house in a weekend. You do a couple open houses and you sell the house.
Wow,
So yeah,
which is
you
good for you, but
yeah, for me it's good.
not
For
for the
me,
buyer.
if I am the listing agent, if I am the buyer's agent, it's a different story.
Yeah,
So
because you
if
gotta go.
sometimes if you cannot make it to an open house, you are not able to see the house because
Wow.
yeah, they just do an open house on Saturday and Sunday, present the offers on Monday, and that's it.
Just to give you an idea, I think I see lines in
Yeah,
open houses. That was not like that before. You see
yeah,
lines to go into
lines, and you can
the
stay
house.
there for 3 hours.
You're like,
Yeah,
what are they giving in there? Cookies? Yeah.
beer maybe, I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah, like they giving cookies in there, or like what are they giving?
yeah,
Hot
that's true.
chocolate? Um, what are the price point in your neighboring areas, Bayshore in the neighboring area?
Well, Bayshore, the average is $450,000 is the average. So you see different areas in Bayshore too. If you go to the south of Main Street, obviously high is high end, so the prices can go up to, I don't know, $2 million. But
Wow.
most area in Bayshore is in the range of $400,000. Unfortunately, you cannot find anything in the 300,000s anymore. And if
Wow.
you listing in that price range, is crazy. You can receive like 40 offers easily if you
Wow.
yeah, if you list a house in a 300,000
If
range.
you see, I noticed one thing. If they put a house in a lower price range, it's because they want to bid it up. because
Yeah,
they want to get the attention of people and they want people to go against each other. Usually they would sell it for more than
yeah,
they would if they had it at like a 450 range, right?
exactly. Yeah, some people
So
do that and they know they're gonna sell the house in 2 days, like I told you before, if they do that. Mhm.
yeah, you'll get people like, I want to live there. No, I want to live there. I want to live there. You know what?
Yeah.
You probably overpaying for the house at that point.
Yeah,
Um,
and if you're working with a buyer, and let's say that he is pre-approved for 450,000, you're gonna look for houses in 420. So you have $30,000 to go higher.
exactly. The
Yeah.
problem is that you also have to, like, you as a first time home buyer, you have to understand that you need somebody. You can't just go out there and put offers. You need somebody who knows
Yeah.
the area very well and who's experienced, like Tanya, who's been doing this for over 4 years, right?
2 years. Yeah.
And she knows the area very well. She knows what to do, so she could advise you. Because if the house is does not appraise,
Yeah.
and this is good for both the seller and the
Mm-hmm.
buyer, because you could sell your house for 1 million, 2 million, it doesn't matter. But if it doesn't appraise, you're
Yeah.
not gonna sell it for that much because a bank's not gonna give you money to buy a house that doesn't appraise. So in that sense, you should be safe there. That when you go on contract, you say, "I'll offer you this much as long as it appraises."
Yes.
If it doesn't
No, and
appraise, then what good is it?
even before presenting an offer, I run some comps to make sure that the house is going to a price, because I don't want to, the house is not worth how much you want to pay for it. The house
Exactly.
has a top. Even if you can go a little higher, it has a top. So you
Mhm.
want to run some comps before presenting an offer to make sure that it's going to be safe. That
Yeah.
if the seller accepts your offer, when the appraiser comes, the house is going to a price. So you have to
Mhm.
to have that in mind.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And if you want to, let's say you love the house, you just must have it, and you're gonna overpay. Just don't overpay like crazy. Have
Mm-hmm.
Tanya listen to the professional to tell you you shouldn't overpay for this more than 5,000 if you really, really must have it. But overpaying for real estate is not good because we don't know if this is the
Mm-hmm.
tip of the market, and then next year it kind of goes, you know, self
Yeah.
corrects, and then you don't want to lose money either.
Mm-hmm.
So now tell us the big question: New York versus Florida. Why are people going to Florida? Tell us of like what are the pros, and we'll talk about the cons after. But let's go over the pros.
Well, I think the most important thing is that you have a lot of more options than here. You
Mm-hmm,
have a lot of new developments, a lot of new communities. You see constructions everywhere around Florida, and
mm-hmm,
you see a lot of new cities. Everything is kind of starting. You see, for example, industries moving to Florida, so that
mm-hmm,
attracts people that wants to work. So they develop everything around the industry. If you see that they're building universities or medical, I don't know, pharmaceutical companies, all that kind of stuff. So people are going to move there. So
mm-hmm,
you will see a lot of new constructions. And for the same price you pay here, a house built in 1960, you're
mm-hmm.
gonna buy there a house built probably in 2010.
Yeah,
So
definitely
that's
it's
a
a
big
lot newer,
difference.
a lot
That's a,
newer
yeah.
for sure, and you get more for your money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you
And
know? Yeah, go ahead.
the other thing are the taxes. Here,
Yes.
here you pay the federal taxes, but you pay state taxes. That doesn't exist in Florida.
Mm,
And the property taxes are a lot cheaper there than
hmm.
here. Yeah.
And they also have the Homestead program, right?
Hmm.
Tell us a little bit about the Homestead program.
So if I am correct, the homestead is if you live in the house for at least 2 years and then you sell the house, you make a profit, you don't have to pay taxes for the first $250,000 profit. And also you have a lot of tax exemption with that homestead program. If you are, let's say, first time home buyer, if you are single, if you have dependents, if you are um, over
Over a certain
60,
age.
yeah, so you have a lot of tax exemption there. So yeah, that's very good.
Now, why are some of the people going down there? What are some additional pros? Obviously, the weather. We know that the beach, the warm weather is just. It's every time I go there to visit my family, I want to stay. I'm like, oh
Me
god.
too. That's me too.
But
Yeah.
um, um, besides having more to choose from, some of the cons that you have to know is that everything is really far, so you need a car for everything.
Yeah.
Go anywhere. The
Mhm.
corner pharmacy is probably 10 minutes away, at
Yeah,
least
that's
five.
true.
But 10 minutes walking for sure. And if you're more remote, so even longer. And what are some of the cons?
Oh, that is one that you said. The other thing is that here you have more jobs, you have industries, you have a lot of big companies that you don't have in Florida. So it's gonna be harder to find um, job, if especially if you're a professional. So if you are in the entertainment industry, if you are in the if you work in restaurant, in hotels, maybe you have a lot of more options. But if you are a professional in any industry like pharmaceutical or construction, like here you have more options, and the finance also here. So that's a big pro of living here in New York. You have a
Mhm.
lot of options too.
Yes. So if you're getting a good salary, you definitely have to know that your taxes are going to be more, your expenses are going to be more, you're paying double tax. In Florida, another pro is that you don't have to pay the income tax, right?
Yeah, and
So
but also, for example, if you live here, you're thinking of buying in Florida. So let's say that I make here $100,000 a year,
yeah,
and I'm thinking working, I don't know, as CFO in a company. If I go to Florida, my salary is going to be lower because the minimum salary in Florida is lower than here. So I'm not going to make $100,000. I'm going to make less money. So
uh,
it's a big difference.
see,
Yeah,
yeah,
people sometimes don't take that into consideration when they move there.
yeah, that's correct. And now I know you started doing real estate in Florida. What was your experience in Florida?
So I had my license there for only a year. So, but the different thing than here is that you had a lot more options. So it was back then, it was most a buyer's market. So you have a lot of people buying, but a lot of people with a lot of options. And people also buying pre-construction. So
Uh-huh.
they're building a community, they have a project, so you buy that in advance. It's
I just
gonna.
want 1 second, Maria. I just want to introduce Maria. She's doing a great job over here. Say hello.
Hi, Maria.
Maria comes every day, man. She's cleaning up a storm over here. Thank you, Maria. Thank you. Go ahead. So Maria.
What I was telling you. That a lot of people used to buy properties in pre-construction, so it's gonna be cheaper. You can basically plan your house,
Yeah.
and you will I don't know, you will see so many new developments that you could just drive around, see the model house that they built, and I want this house, but I want it like this and like that. So you had a lot more options. That was
Mhm.
beautiful, actually. I used to go to see houses just for fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they have
So,
gorgeous homes, and you certainly are able to get a lot more for your money, for sure.
definitely.
Taxes are less, so you're able to save more money.
Hmm.
Um, which will help you get a nicer car, perhaps a convertible,
Yeah.
to enjoy it. So if your job is not a factor, Florida's a good choice. But I have to say, the summers are really, really hot,
Yeah.
way too hot. Um, it would be nice. My dream is to be 6 months here and 6 months there.
Me
That's
too.
personally me. Skip
The
the
summer here
winter,
and the winter
come
time in
back in the
Florida.
summer. Although the summers get hot here too. Sometimes they go to 100, but
That
Florida
is what
gets really
yeah.
sticky hot, and because everything's so spread out, it's far to get everywhere.
Mhm.
Um, you over here, you even in Bayshore, you live in Bayshore, you can walk, and there's a
Yeah.
nice ambience. There's a lot of going on. There's a lot of well, beaches. I can't even put the beaches over here to the beaches of Florida. It's no comparison. But if you're in the center of Florida, it's going to take you 2 hours to get to a beach.
Yeah. No,
Um,
that's another thing. That's another beautiful thing about living in New York. If you want to leave New York, you can drive 2 hours and you're in New Jersey. You drive 3 hours, you're in Pennsylvania. If
mhm.
you're in Miami, you drive 3 hours and you're in Orlando. You haven't even left Florida. So
No,
here
not
you,
yet.
yeah. So here, if you really like to, experience different things, driving, you have a lot of more options. A lot of states are closed.
Yes.
So,
Yes, and yeah, there's the neighboring areas too, which you could get to. I love Long Island because I'm
me
an
too.
island girl, and Long Island's the closest thing I can't see my toes all the time, but it's the closest thing I have, right? I go to the beach and make believe, but it's the closest thing we have up here, and I do love New York, and I love Long Island, as a matter of fact. So now, for first-time home buyers, what tips do you have for them coming? Let's say they wanted to look into your area of Bayshore. What tips would you have for them?
Okay, so you know that first-time home buyers, they are super excited. They have their dreams about their home. So the first thing you have to do, even if it's hard to do, you have to explain them exactly what's going on in the market because it's
Oh
hard for
yes.
buyers right now. So you need to tell them in advance. You're not gonna find your house in a week. You're probably gonna be disappointed. You're gonna present 3, 4 offers. You're gonna be rejected. So you need to tell them that in advance so they know what to expect. That's
Mm-hmm.
the first thing. And the other thing that you have to tell them is you have to get pre-approved. You cannot start looking for houses because I think that I can afford $500,000.
Yeah,
Now you
no.
have to go to someone, to a mortgage company. Get ready. If your credit is not the best, if you need to pay some debts, take your time. Get
Mm-hmm.
ready
Mm-hmm.
and do it when it's the best time for you. Even if you think that maybe in 3 months it's gonna be, no, no, no. Just do it when it makes sense for you. So that's
Yes.
the thing I tell them. And
Mm,
the
that's
other thing is listen, pay attention to your realtor because everything we tell them, we tell our clients is for a reason.
mm-hmm.
So that's something that I always tell them. Yeah.
It's the same thing I tell my clients. Listen to the person that's guiding you. I personally love to help people. I personally like to see the best outcome.
Yeah.
And if I say something is probably because I want you to have the best outcome.
Mm-hmm.
Not probably. I would say 100% is most likely because I want you to have the best outcome. Um, and you know, we're here to help. It is our job.
Yeah.
And there's people out there that say, "But I'm paying you." Like sometimes I've gotten clients that are a little condescending because they think that, well, I'm paying you, but, you got to do no, no. That's you don't go to somebody in your company and you say that to them. Like it's just be professional, be courteous, be patient in this market because the market's not the same as it was 2 years ago, even a year ago.
A year ago.
Things are taking a lot longer. Title
Mm-hmm.
is taking longer. Closings are taking longer. So the problem is that we have people with the mentality that a loan's going to close in 30 days. And that's not going to happen in this market.
No, unfortunately.
Loans are taking at least 2 months, a month and a half,
Mm-hmm.
2 months, sometimes even three. And if it's a problem loan, it could take, a little longer.
Yeah.
If you have issues in title, if the seller has issues in title and they have to take care of it, if
Mm-hmm.
there's things that need to be paid, if you didn't pay your taxes with the IRS, trust me, the bank is gonna find out everything
Yeah.
because that's what the banks do. They find out what you're wearing, color shirt, what shoes. They find out as much as
Everything.
they
Yes.
can. They're putting 400 and something dollars. You're putting only 3.5% if it's an FHA. Um, there's different ways of structuring a deal, but let's say it's an FHA, your first time home buyer, a bank is putting all that money down for you and they're taking the big hit. So
Mm-hmm.
trust me, they want to know
A lot of risk.
everything. They're going to do uh, different studies and research. And they search your name everywhere.
Yeah.
So everything comes out. Just don't think that you're lying to a bank because you're not. Um, and the best way to get ready for it is know what's in your credit. go to a Credit Karma, go to Experian.com or one of the reporting agencies. Check your credit. Credit Karma is free. It's not the same that I'm going to see here because we have a more in depth of
But it
the
gives you
whole
an
year.
idea.
We get an average of the whole year, but it gives you an idea of where you're at and what your
Mhm.
expenses are. You want to try to pay those down because it gives you more money to play with when you're looking for a home. If you have expenses, a lot of expenses on your credit, that's going to take away from your buying power right away because that's a fixed expense right away. And then you also have your taxes that you have to account for. So the more expensive the taxes,
Mhm.
the lesser of a price you're going to qualify for. So just keep
Yeah.
that in mind. Taxes are always going up. They never come down. The town never comes to tell you,
No,
hey, your taxes just went down $5,000. That does not
no, it's
happen.
not gonna happen.
No. So just know that the starting point that you're getting on your taxes is just most likely going to go up.
Mhm.
So, those are things you got to know about your insurance, your taxes. Your expenses have to be, your credit cards have to be under 10% so that they don't put a big impact because I'm able to use 45% of your income to qualify you. So whatever your income is, I'm only able to use 45% of that. And out of that 45%, I have to take off all your expenses on credit. If it's FHA, it's a little bit more, but not that much more. And it's always good to leave room because, if you go to the TP top, anything could happen. Boom, the deal's done.
Yeah.
And just know one piece of advice is once you start your
You're
I can
approved.
say this. Once you start your process and you go in the contract, do not get a credit card, do not get a car. You don't know how many people as a first time home buyer, they get it under contract and then they go and buy a car. And
Yeah.
now the deal doesn't work.
And you're gonna pay your credit for getting a Macy's credit card. Don't do
Getting
that.
a credit card. Don't
Don't
use
do
your
that.
credit at all. The day after you buy your home and they give you the keys and you moved in, you could go to the dealership, you could get whatever credit cards you get approved for. I don't know. I don't want to know. But before you finish that, closing that home,
Don't do that.
don't get crazy getting anything because I'll tell you, there's been deals that fall right through because of that. There's so many people that do that.
Yeah.
Now, another thing is what piece of advice you have for people that want to invest in real estate? Because we also have people that invest that are
Mhm.
looking at these. Tell
Yes.
us.
So the first thing I tell them is that the mindset is different.
Hmm.
When you're buying an investment property or when you're buying your home, it's a different mindset. You cannot fall in love with the house. It needs to be a deal that makes sense, that the numbers make sense. So you need to have a good return on your investments. So you make sure that you can get the money that you invest back and you can pay the bank the mortgage
Hmm.
or the loan. And the other thing is that your numbers has to make sense. You need to know
Yes.
the numbers. If you're buying an investment property for rental, you need to know how much you can charge for rental and how much money you need to have as a profit every month, the money that you have to save aside for repairs. So you need to be prepared for all that. And the other thing that I would say is that find a real estate agent that is investor friendly. Not all real estate agents are used to work with investor. It's different than working with person that is buying their own home.
Hmm.
So that is something. Sometimes the real estate agent, if they are not used to work with investor, they are kind of scared and they will tell you, no, you cannot do that. This is illegal. No, maybe it's not. They're scared. So
Hmm.
that's something. And a real estate agent that'll help you to find a property that is gonna be a good deal, that is gonna give, ach- help you achieve your financial goals. That's the
Yes.
idea.
Yes. You have to know exactly what you're looking for as far as
Yeah.
making every month. And don't think you're going to become rich in one deal because
No.
you're not buying 100 unit building. You're buying probably
Yeah.
1 to 4 family or something like that. So it takes multiple of those. Um,
Yeah. That's
So
another thing. That's another thing that people think because they hear in social media, in the TV all the time that real estate you can be rich. Like, no, that's not gonna happen. You can get rich definitely, but it takes time. It's in the long run. So
yeah,
for one house that you're renting, you're not gonna become rich for one house. So you need
exactly.
to keep building your portfolio, diversify your investments in real estate. There are many ways to invest in real estate. For example, I do passive investment. I put some money and I get a profit after a certain time, but I don't, I'm not, uh,
You don't know, you're not a landlord that, yeah.
yeah, no, I
Get up at
just,
2 in the morning when the toilet's clogged.
exactly. So some people,
Definitely.
there's different ways to do that. So you want to diversify your portfolio, you need to, give some time. It's going to take years and years to build that, but definitely you can do it. Yeah.
Yes, unless you have a good chunk and you want to put it in a multi unit building, and probably New York would take a little bit of chunk.
Yeah.
But
Too much.
um, but tell us, as far as investment, and now I know that you mentioned before when we were speaking in the Spanish version, we did another one. We just did another one in Spanish. She's a bilingual, ¿verdad?
Yeah.
Hablamos inglés y español. Um,
Español.
she was telling me that because I know New York market is not landlord friendly, but
Mhm.
Florida is,
It is.
and I know that Florida, if you're having issues with your tenant, they could be out in as little as 3 months. In New York, it's 11 months minimum, but now in New York with the pandemic, somebody could be there, who knows, 2 years, because you got the cases that are so backed up. So by the time you get a court date, it'll
Mhm.
probably be a year and a half, 2 years. Now, but Tanya, you just mentioned something about Florida also
Yeah.
that I
What
didn't know.
hap- what happened in Florida is that with COVID is happening kind of the same thing that in New York. So you cannot evict anybody just that easily because
Wow.
they are protected, especially if they try to demonstrate that they are being affected because of COVID. Maybe they're not. Some people are
Mhm.
taking advantage. That's a reality.
Of course.
But until you cannot prove that, you cannot take them off the house, and you cannot cut the utilities. Nothing. So you
Hmm.
have to wait. I think that's something general around the country. Yeah, but
Yeah.
before, unfortunately, here in New York, the laws protect the tenants, and so sometimes that's not fair. Sometimes,
Hmm.
it is, sometimes it's not. In
Yeah.
Florida, it's more, yeah, they sometimes they protect the tenant, but sometimes the landlords. So it's more flexible, which is better.
And I've seen you don't know how many landlords I've seen suffering because they have a horrific tenant that won't leave, and they can't do anything about it, and
Hmm.
they lose their shirt sometimes, because you have to know that if you're investing in New York, you have to have that nest egg that you could cover your expenses for a year and a half. So it's not just 6 months. So make
Hmm.
sure if you have a profit, you put all that into a bank account so that you could cover in case that you have that
Hmm.
tenant. Of course, the more units you have, you're able to disperse that all across the board. But just know that when you're dealing with like 1 to 4 family house, you're usually the person that's managing, which you'll be running around everywhere, fixing this, fixing that. And if you're not doing it yourself, you're going to get somebody that's going to cost.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
and in New York, it's more expensive to get stuff fixed, unless you have, people that you already know that could do the job, and so forth. So just be careful with your investments. You want to have somebody who could tell you these things, like Tanya. Listen, I don't think you should. That property looks very run down. You're gonna have to fix a lot of it. So just listen to your professional that's telling you, listen, this is a good investment, not a good investment, right?
Yeah.
And Tanya, what do you have to say to us about your area of focus?
Well, right now in Bayshore, like almost Long Island is like it's hot. It's hot, and unfortunately, prices are very high. You cannot find almost any property under $400,000. That's sad because when you have clients that you want to help, I mean, it's kind of hard to help them. But I really love this area here. It's very diverse. You
Yes.
have a lot of beautiful places. You have a lot of fun. You can have a lot of fun here. You have the beach, like 10 minutes driving, but you also have the marine, you have restaurants. So Bayshore is a beautiful area. It's beautiful. I love it.
Yes. Very
And
alive. Lots of restaurants.
yeah,
It's a fun area, definitely.
but and as a market, yeah, it's very hot. It's a good school district. Is Yeah, it's very nice.
It's really nice. There's a lot of nice areas in Long Island, and it's good to do your research before you invest, because
Mm-hmm.
this is a big investment. It's not like you're buying, when you're going to buy, I don't know, whatever, a toy, you look at all the toys and you see where they're selling it, and you spend time looking at the toy that you're going to buy, or a car. Why not take your time with a house? This is your
Yeah,
house. You got to
especially
live,
with
so
the
make
house.
sure you take your
Yeah,
time looking for what the best area is for your money. Don't think just, oh my God, that's such a beautiful home. I can't afford it, but I want it anyway. It doesn't matter. I'm up to here.
yes,
I'm going to be, house rich and, wallet poor. Don't think like that, because, you have to give yourself a little room there. Things, when you get into a house for the first time home buyers, things break, and you have
hmm,
maintenance. You got to keep cutting the grass.
yeah,
There's a lot of things that happen to maintain that house, that property, the heat.
yeah,
All of a sudden, you don't have your landlord giving you oil and heat,
exactly.
all that stuff. You have to pay for these things. A lot of people don't think of that. Taxes, like I mentioned before, they go up, they don't come down. So, these things you have to take under consideration. Any last advice that you have for our viewers?
Well, I always tell my buyers, I always tell people in general,
Yeah.
getting a buyer's agent, a person to work with you, is free. You don't have to pay. You don't have to pay us. The seller, the person who lists the house, pays the commission for both parties. So it is basically free for you to get someone to drive all around Long Island with you, that helps you to make a good decision, that give you all the advice that is going to work in your best interest. So it's the best idea to
Yeah.
have a real estate agent working with you, definitely, especially in a market like this one, because you want to make sure that you're making a good decision.
Yep.
So,
Yes.
but I am here to help you. That's it.
Thank you so much. And this was New York versus Florida. I want to thank you, Tanya, so much for being with us today. I always appreciate your company with us, and you're dropping your 2 cents in there. If you want to reach out to Tanya and you're interested in the Bayshore and neighboring uh, real estate markets, 305-783-9592, or T Fromenta at Meg Smith and Associates. That's her email address. You see it scrolling in the bottom there. Um, so you want to make sure you get in with a good realtor, and I'll be looking forward to giving you more tips and about the real estate in New York, in other areas. This is going to grow later into investments. So right now we're covering first-time home buyers because that's really hot right now with the spring market.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's going out there to purchase. So these are tips for you guys that are looking to purchase for the first time. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll love to see you on our next Retalk TV. And
Yay.
love y'all. Bye.
Bye.